Hey guys, welcome. Welcome back. Welcome aboard. Welcome home. As always, of course, depending on where you happen to be in relation to these messages, this energy, and this channel. Let's have a conversation about what's up this week. This week being November the 15th through the 21st of November. This week is really dominated by this full moon, right? We have a 27-degree full moon in Taurus on Friday morning, like 3 a.m. Central Time. And so we're really kind of dominated by that, of course, magnetic pull of that full moon, right? This is really, the energy is about purging, right? And it's purging our real awarenesses, right, of our truths, both self and collective truths, right? And any ways that we're not only attached to those truths, and I'd like to air quote truths, right? Because we know that truth is mostly relative and mostly subjective. But also the ways that we're attached to those truths, right? How we're manifesting from them. Also how we are creating and recreating those truths, right? And the question is, are they in alignment? Are your truths in alignment? And we need to also remember that you are, right, your only limit, and you are your every strength. Keeping all of that in mind, that's kind of our theme this week, right? So we start this week on Monday with an Aries Moon, which is very exciting always, right? And so kind of early morning, the moon conjuncts Chiron. And Chiron also squares Venus, right? So which means the moon squares Venus, right? So the mandate, the opportunity, the quest, right, is to let love lead in this kind of energy, right? Because we're talking about Chiron, which is about health and healing, and then Venus, which rules our 3D experience. And so we're really called to let love lead in those moments. And then later the sun squares Jupiter, right? Reminding us that anything is possible. And as I have said many, many, many times, if you're calling in the shit show, don't be surprised when you get the shit show. And if you're calling in paradise, be glad when you get paradise, right? Be grateful. But either of those are your call. Right, they're your call. And certainly, right, later as that Aries moon is in conjunct Mercury, the concept is really about how your expression really is your magnet, right? And to be mindful of where you're sourcing your power. Are you sourcing your power from the shit show or from paradise, right? If you're letting love lead, you already know the answer. Again, going right back to, are you in alignment? Right, but where are you sourcing? Right, so on Tuesday, this is like an echo, right, of that moon, right? So we've got Jupiter and the sun and Pluto all in aspects to the moon. Now, this is about kind of like discovering in the dark, right? Like feeling around in the dark. And I think that that's really where most of our amazing discoveries are made, right? So if you can expand your self-vision, right? Your self-vision, your sun vision, expanding that Jupiter energy, right? Using that Jupiter energy to kind of blow the doors off. You can also witness that nothing is available to you, right? And then later on in the day, the sun sextiles Pluto, reminding you that you're only obligated to your current self-view as far as you allow yourself to be, right? You get to say no to old narratives. You get to say that. You get to rewrite your old narratives. You get to reject anything, again, that's not in alignment with that who you are and what you want to be, where your desires are leading you. And then in the evening, the moon moves into Taurus, allowing you to really put your boots on the ground with whatever it is that you're in creation of in terms of yourself, your self-concept, your narrative. Remember, you're only creating an alignment with your self-narrative. You're only creating in alignment with your self-narrative, right? On Wednesday, right? This is a day of revelations, right? We're talking about unearthing, sudden awarenesses, the ways, right, that you move through the world, but not only the ways you move through the world, but also how you're creating that you. The moon squares Saturn, right? This is a mirror check. And then we've got, you know, big Venus, Uranus, and Mars telling you, you have plenty of ways to create yourself, your narrative, your vision. You have plenty of ways, right? And with that, you know, the moon trining Venus, and Venus, of course, being in Capricorn, right? We know that this energy is about being in solid discernment and creation of your experience, right? You have a multiplicity of ways of creating your 3D experience. It's just asking you, how are you going to choose to do that? On Thursday, do something creative, right? Mercury is going to trine Neptune, and then the moon is sextile Neptune, right? Remember, we're talking about this beautiful Taurus moon, and then we're talking about Neptune. Do something creative, right? This Taurus moon loves the sensual experience, right? Absolutely. It's about getting in there, face first, creating your 3D world. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you tasting? What are you feeling? What are you smelling? Create from your soul, right? Create from your soul, and then bringing your vision into the 3D. So find a way to create something that's going to remind you of all this work you've done early in the week regarding yourself. Do it early, right? Make sure that it matches your highest vision. Do it early, right? Because later when the moon squares Jupiter, and then is trying to Pluto, you're going to want to resist any urge to crumple up your masterpieces or delete it, right? Or just say, oh, that wasn't good enough, right? No, you're going to want to resist those urges, because if you're creating from your soul, it's always worthy. And then on Friday, right, okay, so just after midnight Central Time, Venus squares Uranus, and then we have a full moon at 3 a.m. Central Time. This is at 27 degrees Taurus. So this moon is big and beautiful. Be open to anything. Be completely unattached. Having no expectations with this full moon, right? Set your heart and your soul on your highest dreams. On your highest dreams, right? There's very close proximity to the North Node, which is sitting at 1 degree Gemini. Limitless potential. What you can create is only limited by your ability to accept your power as creator, right? Again, we're talking about speaking it. It's either the shit show or it's paradise. You are your only limit, right? So use this full moon, 27 degrees of Taurus. You can create anything. Venus is trining Uranus. You can create anything. And then in the evening, right, as the moon moves into Gemini, you know, skinning right by that North Node as well. Really limitless potential. This is the one I saw. This is the one we're taking. Then on Saturday, right, this is a whole day. Remember how we talked about on Thursday, right, resisted the urge to crumble up your masterpieces? So Saturday is a day where you're going to want to spend the whole day reminding yourself not to resist, not to analyze, not to critique, and not to pick apart your dreams, right? All of that work you did on Friday for that full moon, on Saturday, you're really going to want to be like, that's too big. Oh, that's too much. Oh, that's too over the top. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Resist every single urge to censor yourself, to call back the bigness of those dreams. Trust in them. Please trust in them. Like the moon aspects Chiron and Venus and Mars, really wanting you to just be like, it's just too much. That's just way over the top. No, resist your urges, please. And it's going to get a little deeper too, because in the evening, Mercury, of course, which is about expression, squares Jupiter, which is about expansion. So it's a whole day of leaning in to your dreams instead of stepping back from them and assessing them to be over the top or too much or unlikely or wow, that would just be way so much work. Any of those things, resist the urge, right? And then on Sunday we've got a couple of big aspects. Mercury sextiles Pluto, and then the sun moves into Sagittarius and the moon moves into Cancer. So here's the deal. We're talking about depth of expression, right? And this is the day where you start to feel your rewards, your expansion, your depth, right? So if you've been able to manage through this week, if you've been able to ditch the old narratives, if you've been able to really step into that powerful place of dreaming your dreams and being fearless about what you're willing to claim and call in, this is the day when you're going to start to feel, right? That sun in Sagittarius is going to create that kind of sense of emergence as you move through, right? In relation to, right? Because Sagittarius is that energy where we put ourselves in alignment with our narrative. How do I fit with that? How does that fit with me, right? Where do we see ourselves in relation to those things? Where do we immerse ourselves? How do we connect with that? How do we lighten up, right? We're coming out of Scorpio season, so we're emerging from the depths, and as we do that, we get to bring with us, right, Moon in Cancer, our feelings about it, but we're going to want to recreate our actual sense of identity in relation to those lessons that we've learned, right? So we're going to have to learn that lightness and depth are not mutually exclusive, right? And they're not. You know, lightness is that walking in faith, right? And if you're in alignment, as we've mentioned a ton of times, right, that Cancer moon wants you to be in alignment with your roots, your origins. And if you're in that alignment, then there's nothing that you can't springboard from, which is really what that Sagittarius sun wants you to do, to dive in to whatever topic might be at hand, which is a beautiful thing. Since our cards are a little bit slower today, let's go ahead and start chatting about our pairings. I'll still keep shuffling. So we're talking about the Two of Wands and the Four of Cups, right? Two of Wands is about a choice. This is about a choice, a heart-based choice, right? This is about a choice of motivation, a choice of passion. Four of Cups is kind of like that womp womp. So we talked about this, right? The moon is going to be conjunct Chiron, and then Chiron is going to square Venus, creating that moon square Venus, letting love lead, right? And then as the sun squares Jupiter, we contemplate this anything's possible, right? So we're talking about our expression being magnetic, right? So if our expression is magnetic, right, then what are we calling in? Are we in love with what we're creating? Since we are the source of our power, since the question is, are you aligned? And the only limit is your limit, right? Are you able to call in that Two of Wands? Are you able to stay in that highest choice? Are you able to stay in that place where you do get that juice, that motivation, that what literally turns you on, right? We're talking about Venus, right? We're talking about Chiron square Venus. Again, diving in face first to your life, remembering that you are your expression. You are your own source of power, which is a beautiful thing. And are you going to call in the shit show? Or are you going to call in paradise? That's all here. So are you going to call in the shit show? Or are you going to call in paradise? And how do you feel about both of those choices? How do you feel about both of those choices? Which one's going to make you go womp womp, and which one's going to make you go heck yeah? Well, I mean, then you have your answer, right? Then you have your answer. On Tuesday, we've got the Queen of Wands. We're talking more about that motivation, that passion. And then we're talking about the Nine of Swords, right? Which is what wakes you up in the middle of the night going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. What is the source of your anxiety? We talked about how the only obligation you have is to your current self-view, not to your old narratives. Well, guess what? These are your old narratives right here. All of these old narratives are the things that drag you into the past. And when you're making those discoveries, right, we talked about how Jupiter and the Sun and Pluto are really going to allow you to make those discoveries kind of in order to expand that vision of yourself, right? So what is the vision you're holding of yourself? What is the vision you're holding of yourself? Is it making you go womp womp, or is it making you go, oh yeah? I mean, that's your question. And here's the deal. You have the opportunity to shift, create, or change that narrative. You can edit it at any point in time based on what gets you jazzed. What pulls you out of bed in the mornings? Why are you waking up? Why are you living your life? If you don't know the answers to those questions, this might be a great time to find those things out, right? On Wednesday, we talked about revelations, right? Sudden awarenesses, the ways we move through the world, and how we create that we, right? And definitely finding new ways of creating our experience that is in alignment, right, with the Venus energy that is pulling us, right? We've got Mars in opposition to Uranus, really shifting your ability to move through the world as yourself. But if you don't know who you are, then you're not really moving in alignment. So we have the Seven of Cups, right? This is about multiplicity of expression. Multiplicity of expression. Every way that you can show up. You can witness that as confusion, or you can step right back here and say, I'm only obligated to my current self-view, not to my old narrative. Two of Cups, this is a beautiful, beautiful energy. It can be about love. It can be about divine union. It can be about partnership. It can also be about the way that you express yourself as divine, right? What are you creating? This is a blessing. This is always a blessing. This is heart-based, full cup energy. This means my heart is full. And Seven of Cups is really, I have tons of ways to do that. Which one am I going to choose, right? If we're going to mirror check with this Venus, Uranus, and Mars energy, then we really need to understand what we're creating. And is it in alignment, right? Is it where I want to be? Is it where I want to go? On Thursday, we talked about doing something creative, right? Definitely bringing your visions to 3D, right? And doing it early. So here's the deal. We've got the Ten of Cups. We've got the Six of Wands. The Ten of Cups is look at what we have created, right? This is, I'll just flat out tell you, Ten of Cups is my favorite card in the deck. It's my favorite minor. And I just love it. It is, all of my cups are full, right? I have everything that I could possibly need. My heart is happy. Six of Wands, this is a card of victory. This is a card of earned victory. And how do we earn it? Well, guess what? We listen when we're asked to make choices. We listen when we're asked to choose what actually moves us forward. And this choice really brings us to our highest and best. And that is how we create our own victory, right? By resisting the urge to crumble up those creations. By resisting the urge to delete our masterpieces, understanding that that's just like creation is creation, right? You don't have to destroy it. If you created it, you get to witness it. Yeah, so let's talk about the Ace of Swords and Justice on Friday. This is full moon day, right? So here's what I'd like to say. This is a Taurus full moon at 27 degrees. We also have that Venus trining Uranus in the morning. Dream your big dream, right? Ace of Swords, this is new ideas. We talked about not censoring yourself, but really allowing yourself to be led by your power as a creator. Justice is this is the card of Libra, right? Also ruled by Venus. So we're talking about balance, harmony, and how you're in harmony with what your dreams are, right? Not really pulling in attachments or expectations, but pulling in from the divine. Look, I mean, swords are ideas, right? This is about what you're believing. So you have the opportunity to really shift your beliefs from here to here, right? I mentioned earlier this week that this is definitely a week where we want to do our purging, right? We want to really jettison our old narratives before this full moon, simply because there's so much opportunity in this 27-degree Taurus full moon. As we are at that 1 degree Gemini North Node, right? Let's just look at our 1 degree Gemini North Node. I mean, you know, I'm kind of nerdy about it, but it's all there, right? Every possibility is yours. So are you going to speak in the shit show? Are you? Or are you going to speak in paradise? I mean, you have a choice. It's your choice. You get to make it. No one can make it for you, but you're the one that's got to live with it. So choose wisely. On Saturday, please remember that on Saturday, I talked about not being in resistance, right? Not analyzing, not critiquing, not picking apart those dreams that came in for you, those dreams that you are in creation of, right? Not allowing that energetic to pull you backwards. So we've got the 9 of Pentacles, which is wish fulfillment, and we've got the 8 of Wands, which is movement, passionate movement, right, toward what you want to create in the real world. 27-degree Taurus full moon, and then we have the 9 of Pentacles. You know, it can't get more beautiful than that. You can make that forward motion as long as you're not sliding back into the old narratives, as long as you're not, you know, what's the saying about it's better to adjust your trajectory than keep going in the wrong direction. Absolutely it is. You know, it's just your idea of where you're supposed to go that's keeping you out of alignment and on the wrong path, or on the path towards something that's not bringing you your wish fulfillment, your highest and best, right? I mean, you have the power to do all these things. It's just about, where are you going to get hung up? Where are you going to allow yourself to pull forward things that just aren't, right, moving you toward your wish fulfillment? Those are choices you're making every single day, right? You have the power to remake them. You have the power to use this sword of truth, this sword of justice, this sword of balance, this sword of harmony, and cut out the nonsense and actually get into your own alignment. And then on Sunday, right, we're talking about really creating that depth of expression, really allowing yourself to connect. And fact, that Sagittarius shift, that moon into Cancer shift, is gonna feel a little wonky, right? Especially with Pluto with Pluto contacting Mercury early in the day, and then the moon moving by there, and Mercury as well. So it's talking about expression, rewarding your expression in the depths, right? But so how are we going to move forward with these new ideas? How are we going to do that? And how are we going to be defending our passions that we discovered earlier in the week? Well, guess what? We have to remember that as that energy is shifting, these are not mutually exclusive. Just because it feels different on Sunday doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean we're going to fall back into our old narratives. Heck no, we are going to run with what we have. But we're going to make sure that it's aligned, right? This is the key all week long. Is it in alignment? Is it in alignment? Everywhere you're being asked to check your alignment. And how do we do that? We do that in the mirror, right? We do that in our heart. We do that in our soul. We do that by asking those questions and feeling in your body where that answer comes from. And as such, that's always your answer. Ask yourself, am I calling in the shit show? Am I calling in paradise? See how those feel for you. See where they feel for you, especially with this Taurus moon for most of the week. You know, you get to feel those things. You get to discover them on your own, right? Which is a beautiful thing. So you'll figure it out. You're your only gauge, right? You're your only truth. Accept your power as the creator and be aware of what you're calling in. And man, be aware that you've got such potential when it comes to what you have the ability to create. So how are you going to use that power? How are you going to use that big full moon on Friday morning? I know how I'm going to use that full moon. Hopefully you will too. Boy, we're having some uncommunicative cards this week, aren't we? It's all right. All right, I'm willing to give that deck up. If it's not going to be the right one, we'll just get a different one. Wow, okay. See, when it comes out, it comes out. Thank you. Okie dokie. Can you see it if I prop it up a little bit? There we go. Okay, so we talked about these. Let's talk about 7.5 billion ways. It's 7.8 billion ways now, by the way, but we'll keep the card for what it is. Again, we're talking about what you're creating, what you're recreating, and is it in alignment? You know what? There are 7.8 billion ways to be in alignment. Only you know yours. Only you can find it, right? Only you can create it. Only you can resist it. Everything we just talked about, solely your option, your motivation, your resistance, your highest, your best, your victory, your heart, your truth, your cutting away the nonsense, your wish fulfillment, your forward motion, your defense of what you know to be true. Only you can do those things. I can't do them for you. No one can do them for you. Only you can do them. So, my friends, please do them. Do them for yourself, because that's what you're here to do, right? That's your whole mission statement. How are you here to serve? How are you here to learn? Both of those things hinge on this full moon this week. So you have the opportunity to really take advantage of some high-powered growth. I hope that you do that. Let's talk about the Sage. Look, it's beautiful. First of all, holy cow, look at that card. It's gorgeous. Just gorgeous. The Sage encourages you to see things from a higher perspective, right? I mean, okay, that's what we've been talking about, right? No. Thank you. Sage love teaches others, but knows when and when not to share their thoughts. They save their energy and their wisdom for those that can truly value and integrate it. We may feel passionate about what we're saying, but we also must allow for individual responsibility. Healthy sage encourages us to share our wisdom, but to do so in a way that empowers others. Sage respects that everyone is where they're supposed to be in their process. They do not teach from a place of ego. The sage calls you to tap into the wisest part of yourself, right? Alignment. This card serves as an invitation to explore yourself without judgment or shame. Simply be and see what you find. It is also an invitation to bring the wisdom you have found in your reflecting to others. The sage asks, what are you here to teach? What is your message? The sage is all about exploring their inner landscape and finding truth. They're not attached to outcomes and simply want to see everything for what it is, rather than manipulating the external. Balanced sage is a pillar in their community. They're in service to others, not for their own ego. They often do a lot of behind the scenes. Their ability to affect change is widespread, but others may not even notice. Unbalanced sage energy can include heavy criticism, a dogmatic disposition, being controlling and manipulating. They may disregard their students' feelings and experiences and think that only they are right. Sage at its worst thinks there's nothing left to learn because they know it already, right? So we talked about being open, right? Being open to any new narrative, questioning what's going on, right? Finding your place in the mirror and looking for new ways to create your own experience, right? This isn't about being in comparison. It's about your dreams and then not criticizing them, not judging them, right? And then allowing yourself to immerse your experience within those dreams, right? This energy, look at that beautiful full moon in that card too, is just asking you to be your own alignment, right? That's all a sage really is someone who trusts their own alignment and understands that there are 7, almost 8 billion ways to do that. Guys, this is a big week. I really encourage you to spend some time in whatever kind of reflection that works best for you, right? And really just get very raw with the way that you're moving through the world and the way that you want to move through the world. And if those things are out of alignment, find a way to move them closer, even if it's just fractionally closer, right? All of these ways, all of these anxieties, all of these things that keep you up in the middle of the night are pointing you in the right direction, right? Make choices for yourself, for your future, for your trajectory. You can do it. You can do it. We'll talk more on Friday, certainly, about that full moon. So until then, be blessed and be present, right? Yeah, big blessings.